Here we go. Alrighty. I invite you to place your hands on your heart. As I'm doing, I'm taking that deep breath of love and gratitude. So grateful for this time to come together with these beautiful souls, grateful for the willingness that we have to live the teachings of A Course in Miracles. Grateful for our willingness to be the light and the love that we are. We're grateful for all of our teachers, both here in the earth plane and in the heavenly realms. We ask that they surround and support us now during this call, blessing this call, blessing each and every one of us and all of our family and friends and loved ones as we go through the days. We're so grateful that we get to share the benefits of those blessings and of our healing, awakening awareness with everyone because we're one with them. In grace and gratitude, we let it be, and so it is. Amen.
Amen.
Oh, oh, there you are. Everybody's here. All right, so the difference between imprisonment and freedom. That's what we're talking about this week, the difference between imprisonment and freedom. Would someone like to begin our sharing?
Well, I'll start out and just say, to me, that the theme of this pretty much was following the voice of Holy Spirit versus ego. And, of course, the voice of Holy Spirit is the voice of freedom, and the ego is not. So, I know that this is a theme that runs throughout this text and this course, and I get that. But I kind of have the mind, I think it's a teacher in me, that I always want to know the formula, how to do that. Like it sounds easy. Well, just turn your will into God's will, and they're one and the same, and just accept that. But, I mean, on a daily, everyday basis, getting on and off the toilet, doing the dishes and all that stuff, how do you apply this?
Well, for me, it's a matter of trust. Trusting that there are things beyond my capacity to see and hear and feel and smell and touch and taste at the moment that that don't allow me to see the full picture in all directions of time and space. And so the formula for me is just trust, just a blind trust. And it seems to the logical mind, to the egoic mind, it seems completely crazy. But I have seen, experienced, and felt in myself and in others that it's absolutely true, that there are things that happen beyond what we can imagine, beyond our control. And I just have to trust that.
So it's a matter of just, step by step giving your will over to God's will, although they are one and the same. I mean, kind of a minute by minute thing, just like a moment to moment.
Absolutely, because this is already, all of this appearance of this separation of this lifetime is actually already happened. It's already done. So we don't remember agreeing to come here and have these experiences. We just don't remember that, and that's okay. And sometimes we can look at it and go, are you freaking kidding me? Why would I have agreed to this? And we don't know, and it's not our job to know. That's all.
I know Jennifer has talked a lot in her podcast about, this being very fearful for people. People are afraid to do it.
Yes. It's not for wimps. Absolutely. Yep. I think.
Okay, well, that helps, Linda. Thank you.
You're welcome. Anybody else like to speak on this? Carla, go ahead.
So I happen to have this bookmark. I look for it, and so I'm going to read it. This is A Course in Miracles. Your task is not to seek for love, but merely to seek and find all the barriers within yourself that you have built against it. It is not necessary to seek for what is true, but to seek for what is false. So, when I hear what you're saying, Linda, and I think it's very helpful. And we are what we are. We've never been any otherwise. And we're love, where it's truth, it's life, whatever it is. And we have this experience. I think you're exactly right, Linda. And for us to choose that, that's really all this life is, to learn to choose the love. Now, love is always there. It's always there. So what my guidance is to remove the barriers to seeing that. Once they're moved away, like the sky is always there. Yet sometimes there's clouds, it's rainy or whatever. It blocks the sky, it blocks the sun this daytime. We don't see it. So remove all those moments, all those I don't like this. I mean, we are love. So anything that isn't like joyful, isn't happy. Now we look at appearances and we go, you know, like that. The truth is, it's just ego offering us thoughts come and go in our mind all the time because we're one. And there's people who definitely think all these, believe all these thoughts that block the love. So you start noticing, notice. Practice, letting go of all those blocks to love. Because the love is there. The love is all around us. It always has been. Always has been. Always will be. It's removing those blocks to seeing it, to living it, to feeling it, to knowing it. Like the trust is foundational to do that. And like the ego wants to go, oh, why this, that, all these things, because it wants to block our, I don't know, the trust, the willingness, the desire wants to block all that stuff. So my sense is you remove all the blocks and you'll see it. You'll see it because that's all there is to see. That's what I would say. Thanks.
Carla, I'm curious, just to clarify, are you saying that as these things come up, we look at them as a block to love, and then we kind of say, oh, well, that's this, block to love that looks like this? I mean, each one of those little arguments against coming in, accepting God's will as a block to love?
Yes, I've simplified it even more, but nobody's real. Okay, maybe you'll hear me. That to recognize the voice for ego, because I had a Vipassana like 3 years ago, and I was I'm going Vipassana all day, and I hadn't prepared, didn't have the food. I'm digressing. I'm sorry, I apologize, and then I had chips. I was eating chips or something, and they fell on the floor, and I put the chips away after I got done, and my mind said, oh, you should sweep that up. Your floor's gonna get messy. You're gonna do this. And the ego likes to keep us busy with things, keep us distracted with all the thoughts in the mind. And so that's why I'm telling you this is what I recognize, because the voice said, oh, sweeps up, so I'll sweep it up, and then I go, oh, look, there's some dust over there, do that too. And I'm like, yeah, that's a good idea. And now I'm like, oh, what am I doing? I was like cleaning my living room, and I'm like a minute into it, and I'm like, I'm supposed to be doing Vipassana. And so this is what the mind does. It distracts us with thinking. My practice is to let go of thinking and to clear my mind, because that's the guidance of the Spirit is 24/7. And at the beginning, I didn't hear that. So, yes, it's about seeing your life as a practice. This is one long freaking practice to learn the love, to choose love. It's not, love is there, but noticing, oh, not like Jennifer says, I'm not interested in that. I'm not interested in that. I'm not interested in that. Don't energize it with your power, the thought, because you are giving your power to believing the thought. Thoughts are not true. They're never true. You give them the appearance of truth by your power, your attention, your willingness to consider it as true or something like that. So I'm telling you, it's really been when I recognize that notice the thoughts. We're not, we're not the thinker. We're not a thinker. Ego wants to give us thoughts, and we have aligned the universe, the world, or whatever you want to call it. Most people think that they're the thoughts, the ego thoughts. You're not the ego thoughts. So it's noticing, thanking spirit, thanking spirit. Anytime you notice the thoughts and you go, oh, I don't want that. I'm not interested in that. Thank you for showing me. Show me another. And I did that for, I don't know, a time. I still do it, really. But, and my mind started clearing. And because I started letting go, like Jennifer says, she tells us everything, but I do it my own way. That you let go of all those thoughts, right? She had 10,000 thoughts, this 3-year process or something. And just, I hope I answered your question. Probably went on too long, but because I'm so grateful for you asking this question, because I really would like to share what I've discovered within me. It's within you too. So just notice, just notice. That's what Vipassana means. Notice, notice, and choose. You're practicing. Does that answer your question?
Yeah, thank you very much. And Linda, I would just add one thing to what you said, and I want to clarify this, is that trust part, a big part of that trust is trusting that everything happens for our best, for the highest good.
Yes, absolutely. And trusting that we don't have to know how to let go of the thoughts. We just have to be willing to say, please, Holy Spirit, take this thought out of my mind so I never think it again.
Well, on one level, it feels like throwing caution to the wind, but I know that's based on a fear.
Mm-hmm. Yep. I've never seen a leaf fall off a tree and get pissed off because of the direction it was going. That I can tell you for sure.
Okay, I get that.
It's just like, oh, I'm on an adventure. And I really would like to be that way. I am not, but I would.
And part of that is the ego just doesn't want to give up control, does it?
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. It's like, I'm so especially bad, or I'm so especially wrong, or I'm so especially broken or victimized or, angry or whatever, whatever we're using as the block to love. It's just separation in disguise and fear.
Okay, yeah, that's very helpful. Thank you.
You're welcome. Diane.
Thanks everyone for this conversation. It really kind of gets to the heart of this chapter. And I really like this in paragraph 8, sentence 5, awakening runs easily and gladly through the kingdom in answer to the call of God. And I really love that, easily and gladly, because think for me, my ego thoughts try to make this a difficult, hard, and challenging process when it really doesn't need to be. And I had this little experience last week that I'll share, and I think it might have been, was it in this group that somebody was sharing about their neighborhood and how I think it might have been you, Robin, how the garbage cans were bothering you and there were things in your neighborhood. Was that here last week? It was? Okay, so it was Halloween night, so the 31st, and I'm in my home and my neighbor across the lane, it's not a long ways because I live in a townhouse, so it's not like a complete street, it's just a little lane. And over the past 15 years since he's been there, he always plays this loud, scary music on Halloween. And so it got dark and Bruce put the music on and I had this thought of annoyance right away. It's like, oh, why does he have to play that awful music? And it kind of triggered, it happened, the decision happened so quickly of annoyance to this music that I was interpreting, I don't like this and it's wrong. And then I had a very quick thought after that, and it was your, Robin, your discussion on your neighborhood. And I'm like, oh, yes, I can make another decision. And it all happened, I would say, within 60 seconds. It was really quick. And I was like, okay, there's this music, and this music means it's Halloween. And let's just enjoy the Halloween. This is what Halloween is. It's scary music going on outside across the lane. And I just felt a real peace around, and I've been annoyed a number of years with the scary music because it brings out my fear. And so this year I just thought, oh, Halloween means this type of music. I didn't label it as scary, bad, or wrong. And I kind of just settled myself into, oh, it's Halloween, and this is the experience of Halloween. And it just felt okay and right. And so I just wanted to share that little, I just feel for me, it doesn't need to be this process of letting go of my thoughts like you've all been talking about. And I find it's the little things, that the big things of course are important, but it's these little daily things that, oh, I don't like this and that music's bothering me and this is wrong. And I kind of go throughout my day wanting everything to be different, as opposed to just easily making another choice. And it's really not hard or difficult. I can do it really easily. And this group, the other thing I wanted to say in response to Deborah was, I just feel it, for me, it's been really important to be a part of Masterful Living in these groups, because Robin, it was your sharing last week that triggered my remembering a few days later of, oh, this is happening in the neighborhood and it's okay. So that was so, I don't know if I would have been able to really make that connection if I hadn't heard your share. You know, like these things keep recurring after when I'm least expecting it. Somebody's share will come back to me and help me to make a different choice. So that's for me where the ease, the thankfulness, the gratitude, and the grace come in. Thank you. Thanks.
Wow, thanks, Diane. That was beautiful. Carla.
Thank you, Diane. That was really a beautiful story, and noticing what came across your mind and saying like, not interested in that. And that's just exactly, you did exactly what that notice story that the mind likes to attach to the music, that you said you just let it go, like, no, this is just an experience, is all beautiful. And I was gonna lead to a line very similar to yours, that you said that awakening runs easily and gladly, and like, yes, that's what we give at things the power. We're like, this is hard. This is what Jennifer talks about. This is hard. This is bad. I'm wrong. All these are blocks. Those blocks, like the music. This is not good. This is, all those thoughts are ego. And it's not even real. It's just a thought system that we've practiced for a long time, I think. And I was going to say another line in paragraph 2. Learning is joyful and leads you along your natural path. That's like, it's joyful. And so that's what I feel from you. You notice that, and you're looking at it with this, with the, has a happy learner, as, yes, thank you. Show me another, like I said, that this is very important, because you were giving that, not you, ego was, it wasn't even you. It's just, you think it's you, but you are the chooser, right? And that's what you did, is that we've given, oh, this is hard. I keep making it, we've given this power, these thoughts, power for so long. Now we're practicing a new mind system. We're changing our thought system from the ego thought system to the God thought system, or whatever. And learning is joyful. And so to learn, to notice that when you're making the same, whether you're making the same mistake over and over, it's like, thank you. I see that I make the same mistake. Whereas maybe for, I don't know, maybe decades, I know in my life it was decades, probably millennia, probably lifetimes, where I made the same choice. I didn't see it. Thank you. I see it. I used to judge myself for judging, and I don't do that anymore. It's just ego thought offered to me, and now I'm grateful because I see it. I see the thought, and whether I choose it or not, sometimes I still do. Thank you. I'm grateful, and so the learning is joyful. It's that, is, how can we do that when we're in the middle of the healing, and when the old thought system's being pulled away from us, and we're like holding on for, the thought system is holding on for dear life, ego is holding on, and we experience it, we feel it, we feel like the angst, the feelings, all the stuff, like, no, I'm grateful for this, for my healing that feels like this, yes, but I'm grateful for the healing. That's all. It's gratitude is a door to everything. Find something, find anything you're grateful for, and things will start to shift. So I'm going to leave soon. Thank you for allowing me this time.
Thank you.
Sure.
Go ahead, Leslie. I love your pigtails, by the way.
Thank you. Excuse me, I just want to say, if you guys occasionally see people coming into my office, it's because they've moved the refrigerator and the microwave into my office. So we had that flood that they're having to redo the downstairs portion, and totally gonna have to renovate the basement. Excuse me. So that's why I've told people, please, I don't want to leave your food hostage. If you guys are hungry, come on in, get your food, use the microwave. Even if I'm on a call, it's fine. So that's why there's some rammed in faces there in the background. And I
They
also
should wave when they come in.
I did like this section too. It seemed like it was a lot of the same, but I appreciate that because I need a lot of the same. And it's funny, Diane, because I didn't highlight anything in that 8th paragraph. It's like I only read like the first 7 paragraphs and take notes on the first 7 paragraphs. And then when you read that, I'm like, oh, that was a really good thing to highlight. So thank you for bringing that to my attention. I appreciate that. I'm trying to think of any examples I have this week. I just have one example of self-love. I was really proud of myself. yesterday afternoon, I had a little minor surgery a couple weeks ago, and I just had my post-op follow-up with my OBGYN, who I love and adore. We've been through a lot together. And she had a student with her, a female student, but it was still a student. And I needed to talk to her about a couple things that was really quite personal. And I just said, I'm so sorry, I'm just not comfortable speaking freely in front of the student. And I felt really bad, like I was being mean to the student, and yet I was grateful that I was able to take care of myself. And I was a patient at that time. I wanted to get my needs met. I had some questions to ask the doctor, and I just thought, you know what, that was really practicing self-love. And I've certainly been there for residents and students before, and usually it's fine. You know, it just wasn't at that time. And she was very gracious about it. The doctor basically was like, yeah, get out. She wasn't that bad, but she was very understanding my point of view. So, and she runs about 45 minutes late, and I used to get really annoyed by that. And it's so funny how it's just a change in perspective, because now I just know she runs late. I bring a really good book to read. I expect she'll be running late instead of expecting her to be on time, then getting frustrated when she's late. And she never, ever once has rushed me. I mean, she sat and spoke with me for 20 minutes yesterday, even though she was 45 minutes behind. You know, it was an easy post-op. I could have been in and out in 5 minutes. So I'm really grateful that I didn't get pissed off enough to want to change OBs, because she could never be on time. Give me a break. I'm a busy person, you know, and I need to get back to work, you know, and drive myself crazy. And just instead of her expecting her to change, I changed my attitude and my perceptiveness, and it just felt much more loving. And even with the student, I didn't wish her any ill will, and I told her that. And when I walked out, I just kind of rubbed her back a little bit. I'm like, I'm so sorry. I hope you didn't think I was rude. She's like, no, not at all. I understand. So, you know, you got to take care of yourself. You just have to. You just have to. Because the ego, as this chapter says, is not going to do it, because the ego is insane, the ego is confused, and is totally confusing. I love that in the first paragraph, sentence 8. As a teacher, the ego is confused and totally confusing. The ego knows nothing. Can I hear an amen? That's it for me.
Thank you, Leslie. Anybody else like to share from what we've read, or from the conversation, or anything else?
I just want to thank Carla for her comments, because I always find them to be very helpful, and they really cast new light on things and make things more clear. So thank you, Carla.
Yeah, I'll be sure to let her know. She's left all ready for her second.
Oh, that happened again.
She knows, though, because I tell her every time, Deborah. So.
Okay, good. Thank you.
You're welcome. Phil, and then Penelope.
Hi, everyone. It's so good to be here, and thanks for your sharing. And I have similar question like Deborah. You know, I was thinking, when I was reading, I said, Holy Spirit gives you true freedom. And, you know, and the ego keeps me small and in separation. And the thought popped up for me, like, we are spiritual being, and that is our true nature. And what is it makes me all the time to believe in the ego and go there? Or why it doesn't, because we are spiritual being, why it doesn't become a second nature and comes through automatically to us? What is it, this ego? How did the ego get so much hold over us? And that, you know, shouldn't my true nature and my true identity be in charge of it? And like I've been saying that to me, you know, how come this ego became like a mini God in my life versus my real true identity, my true nature? Has been playing in my head since I started reading it.
Yeah, for me, I would say that when we decided to come into this world, when we were born, that we were living from our true nature. And then as we grew up around other beings who have been influenced by other egoic beings around them, that we took on those judgments and then started having judgments of our own. I'm not sure exactly why. If I had the thought that, and it's probably just because we were desiring love, you know, like if my parents reprimanded me for something, or I just made it about me, that it was my fault, that I did something wrong, so I must be bad. And instead of, you know, it could have been somebody just had a really bad day and couldn't take my singing one more minute, you know, as I'm skipping around the house, like, you know. So I think it's the learning that we receive and the meaning that we make of it all as we grow up and are influenced by those around us. So that's why our job is to remove the blocks to love, because the blocks to love are just our judgments, you know, our beliefs, things that we made meaning of or heard from others and then took them on as truth, but they're not true. So if I think of that like 3-year-old running around, skipping around the house, skipping around the backyard, swinging on the swing set, singing Henry the Eighth I Am at full lung capacity, you know, that does not feel like a being that was in judgment of herself, you know. And I so I can feel like, oh, I can get back there. I can get back there. I can let go of all the layers of crap that I've allowed to get, you know, thrown over top of her bright, shiny spirit. So. Does anybody else have anything to add to that, or?
So this is extending my understanding of blocks to love a little bit. I mean, I've listened to the podcast and I've gotten an idea from that what the blocks to love look like. But the way you people are talking today, it seems like it's expanding on that definition a little bit.
Yeah, I think, you know, blocks to love, it's any time that I've placed a judgment on myself. That's the block to love. And then every time I reinforce that judgment, that's like reinforcing the blocks. It's like building a wall. So we put this block to love, that's this judgment on ourselves or somebody else. And then we do it again and again and again and again. And the wall gets higher and thicker and stronger. So, but man, we can sweep it out, you know, starting with the bottom and just knock that sucker right down.
So Linda, for example, with this situation I'm in, I mean, I'm always talking about I can't do this or I can't do this because I can't move. And those are all blocks to love too then, right?
Yes. Yes. Because the block is the judgment that things should be different.
Okay, thank you very much. That helps.
Yeah, that's my understanding of it. Mitzi, go ahead.
Well, I'm hoping that someone can help me see this situation that is one of my recurring blocks to love. That and so I have a wonderful friend who wants me to go with her to do this particular activity, and I really don't want to do it. So that's, right there is a barrier. And then I've gone a couple of times, and it's perfectly all right. I don't have to participate. I could just be there, but I feel so guilty that I'd rather not be there. I like that I should participate, and it comes up like often. And I just feel badly when I go, I don't really want to go, so go ahead without me. Or if I do go, then I still feel like crap because I don't want to be there. And it seems totally ridiculous, but it's something that is present in me. It's a big obstacle. And I feel like it's put it's just this thing in our relationship, this, and I don't really know how to shift around it, because it feels like it's illusion fighting with illusion, and I can't get through to just whatever the truth of it is. So I was hoping, because I would like peace, and I would like to not do anything that would damage our relationship. We've been friends for like 35 years. So maybe there's a way to look at this differently that someone could help me with. I'd appreciate that.
Leslie, go ahead.
Mitzi, have you ever spoken to your friend directly and honestly about how you feel about it?
I have, yes, but then I'm still asked to just come along. I don't have to do anything, but they still want me to come along. And I just find that unpleasant.
Yeah, my husband, it's like his favorite line, take care of self first and everything else will fall into place. And it sounds to me like you don't have peace with going. And if I was your friend for 35 years and if you came to me and you said, Leslie, I love you and I am not interested in going with you to this event. And if she says, well, Missy, I really want you to go, you don't have to participate, blah, blah, blah. Leslie, I hear what you're saying. I do. And I'm practicing self-love and I am choosing not to go right now. I hope you can appreciate how hard this is for me to tell you. I mean, Robin knows I'm always very direct and to the point, but it does come easier for me than I know some people have harder times with confrontations like that. But to me, if you're not being loving and honest and authentic to yourself, how are you adding to the relationship at all? And if you're not judging her and if you're not judging yourself, then like Robin always says, you're being open-hearted. It's going and resenting it and being pissed off that you're going to be close-hearted. Where did you go? I just lost Mitzi.
I'm back.
Okay. I was gonna say I lost you. Where were you?
Yeah.
Okay, there you are. Okay.
Okay.
To me, it's all about being open-hearted, and if you're close-hearted, then you are going to be judging the friend, judging the situation. If she really loved me, she wouldn't ask me to go to this thing, and you can't read her mind. I mean, maybe this time she'll be like, "Oh, good, Missy doesn't want to go." I mean, we just don't know. But unless you take care of yourself, nobody else is going to do it for you. And you can do it in a loving, honest way. But it takes courage. And you have to believe that you're worth it. And you are.
Thanks.
Does that resonate with you at all?
It resonates with me to a point. Yeah, I don't know how I could make it any more clear, to her that I don't want to be involved in this. I don't want to be around it. But what I feel like is I ought to want to be around it. I ought to just, support it. I should, that it's really on me that I'm not seeing that being more supportive is the higher ground. So that's
to me, that's just the ego trying to talk you into something you don't want to do. And whenever you hear the word should, it's the ego. It's the ego trying to talk you into something. And how can she, in a way, it's no wonder that she doesn't necessarily believe you, what you're saying, because how many times have you gone and not wanted to go? You have to start fresh. You have to start new. This is a new beginning. This is me loving you and not attending, and having trust that, you know what, she's entitled to her judgments and her opinions. I mean, really, that's none of your business as far as what she's thinking and feeling. Your business is how you're thinking and feeling.
Mm.
So every time you cave into her, you're letting her know, oh, if I ask her 10 times, she's eventually going to say yes.
It's a little more sneaky than that, because it'll be like, oh, we're gonna go here, and then she'll like, oh, I gotta stop by this other place. Is that okay? Well, what do? You're already in the car.
Well, you say, you know what, Missy, I don't believe that. I believe in total honesty. I think I would say, you know what? I do mind. It's not okay. Please drop me off at home. I'm sorry if you went out of your way, but I've told you several times I'm not interested in this event.
All right.
Okay.
Okay.
I mean,
that courage thing again.
You have to meet, do you mean it or do you not mean it? I mean, this is tough, courageous stuff. And I know Robin is just dying here. What do you got, Robin?
Oh, you're muted, sweetie.
I'm sorry for being impatient. Missy, I think this is the opportunity that just recently the classes were on healthy boundaries. And what I got from that was Jennifer said, if you say yes when you really want to say no, you are going to feel resentful. Do you feel resentful about this idea of having to go someplace? Is there some resentment that you feel?
Yeah, I do. I feel some resentment, but more than that, I feel like this terrible guilt that I shouldn't feel like I don't want to go. And it's like eating, I don't know, mushrooms. I don't eat mushrooms because I don't like the taste of them, and there's nothing wrong with mushrooms. I just don't eat them. And it feels like that it's like, this is someone who loves mushrooms and I should eat mushrooms. And
well, that guilt is a negative thought, right?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And if the Course in Miracles actually has a phrase that only loving thoughts are true. So if we're listening to the ego who says you should go, and that you're listening to the ego that says you're guilty, are those loving thoughts?
Okay. I forgot those things.
Yeah, it's like
Thanks.
when we're thinking, the ego is always judging, the ego is always blaming, the ego is always making us feel badly about ourselves. And healthy boundaries, first of all, you're modeling to your friend, this is how to really be in the world with our highest and best selves. You are teaching her without teaching her literally, like I'm going to teach you this. But if you say no to her, you're coming into the world and modeling something totally honest and truthful and loving. And I love that Leslie said you started and say, I love you so much. You are a dear friend and you love doing this activity, but it's not something that we can do let's find something that we both want to do and go off and have a good time. and all the guilt and shame and blame are negative beliefs stemming from the ego, and they're not true. And the healthy boundary is for you to choose the loving thoughts, all the spiritual qualities that say be kind to yourself, be compassionate with yourself, and see yourself as really wanting to be a loving friend who just happens not to want to do this. There are a million other things you both can do. Why do you think it's so important? Why does she, and I'll just, maybe you don't have to answer, why is she pressing so much when she can see you're uncomfortable and that you're not happy with the situation particularly? Or maybe you're covering that up so much she doesn't really get it. Although you just said you've been really clear that you don't want to do it.
I really don't know. I couldn't really, I would, yeah.
Well, it doesn't matter. What matters is that you are showing yourself loving kindness. You're going to be inspired by your response to your loving friend by choosing loving thoughts. And that is, I love you and I love myself. And in loving myself, I'm going to say no thank you.
Okay. Thank you. That's a beautiful way to put it. Thank you. Thank you, Robin.
Now, I can only do that myself. But anyway, that's...
And thank you, Leslie, too. Thank you all. Okay. Thank you.
Can I keep that good? I hope that helps. Can I keep talking for a moment?
Yes, go for it.
I loved your starting out with this sentence, awakening runs easily and gladly through the kingdom in answer to the call for God. And I said, yes, because as I'm reading this, I can feel myself becoming more and more anxious. And it seemed like there were parts of it that were I took in, and then there are other parts like I'll never be able to do this. And so, Deborah, so there's two things. First of all, Diane, thank you for bringing up my neighborhood, because it is really teaching me so much. And I'm getting to a place where, first of all, that the other day when Jennifer mentioned accepting things as they are, because I want to go over and move those trash bins. I want to go over and get the landlord. I want to just, and I'm like, I have to work in the invisible, and if I'm inspired to take action, then. So what I am practicing is seeing the Christ in the trash bins, because I've already learned that lesson with the trash, but I forgot. And the other thing is that I'm really, just recently, like within the past few days, it's like, I'm going to practice being unbothered. And I'm going to do it with a loving thoughts and choices of not being bothered. I don't know how to explain it. I can feel a shift. I can feel my energy vibrate. So Diane, thanks. I'm glad that my problem and my concern was helpful in helping you. So it's worthwhile that there's somebody else that was able to learn something or get something from my, grief or whatever. So this new, and so to add to this being unbotherable is I've started, and I can only repeat myself over and over again, because when reading that awakening sentence, it took me right back. Robin, all this is saying is for you to come back home. It's saying stay present. It's saying get calm, put your hand on your heart, take that breath of love and gratitude. There is nothing out there in the world that I should let enrage me. It's a pause and know that it's part of the illusion and it's the dream, and it's there helping you to come back to peace. And so all I can offer is staying present, coming back to calmness, finding that peace within, and then and right there automatically you get some relief, and you get it's released, and there's some joy, because I'm like, thank God I don't have to be pissed off about this in this moment. I'm just going to be joyful, because the joy is there, just waiting, and the peace is there, just waiting. So, like Carla says, it's the choice point. It's all about choice in every moment, and our circumstances. As hard as and I've got some hard circumstances. I have a very sweet life, but there are things. So, Deborah, I don't want you to think that I'm just saying this and it's easy, because I have my own curriculum that is challenging. And I just want you to know that, because I don't particularly share it. But bringing myself to a present moment feels like the truth, and that I am trying to put more present moments and staying calm and loving towards myself, and only choosing loving words, and letting those words that are negative and false just slip away and fall away. And there's so many wonderful tools that we have, and just to find the tool or the tools that Jennifer has, there's so many ways that she brings light to us if we'll just choose the light. So anyway, thank you guys. And this group is so sweet to me. And Rand, you look so handsome today. And I love the laughter. And I just say, Linda, I think your big shift in your life, you bring so much laughter to us. And I particularly love your laugh. And I love it when you just throw your head back and laugh out loud. And that we are laughing more in this class. And it just feels really good, because I've just been so heavy. And so to be able to come to this class and have laughter is a part of the joy of being here with everyone.
Yeah, thank you, Robin. Yep, we all have our stuff. That's why it's helpful to forgive each other for perceived wrongdoings, because we all have our stuff. We all have moments when we're not at our best. Yeah. Penelope, you raised your hand like a way long time ago. Would you still like to share?
Yeah, actually I would, because it's kind of interesting, because there's some of you here where this actually occurred. You were in the group and this occurred for me. And it's an interesting thing, because it was kind of a breakthrough for me, because I wasn't actually reacting. I was just observing how I was feeling. On Saturday, I joined the upper level community call. And I don't know at what point, it was quite early on in the call, I realised that I was beginning to feel phased, is the word that I will use. And there didn't seem to be any kind of opportunities where I could add anything. And I actually felt that there was nothing that of value that I could add. And this continued right throughout the call. And as Linda often does on these calls, she invited anyone that hadn't spoken to speak. And there was a couple of people on the phone. So quite rightly, Linda went to these people first, and they both shared. So I could have at that point afterwards shared, and even if it was like these two people had done, thanked everyone for sharing. And what was interesting for me was it was kind of a twofold scenario going on, and I was aware it was a twofold scenario. That had I shared at that point, even if it was just to thank people, it wouldn't have felt authentic. And it took quite a lot to just sit there and actually do nothing, to not share. And it would have actually felt for me at that point, and I don't know where this comes from, that sometimes if I follow other people and it's just purely, we're just thanking, it always feels for me like if I was to speak at that point, that I wouldn't be able to do it with authenticity, because it would feel like it's almost, I don't even know the word to express what I mean, but it would feel like I'm just repeating what everybody else has just said, so it wouldn't have felt authentic. So there was that part going on, and yes, I didn't respond, and I was the only one on the call, and I was aware I was the only one on the call that hadn't spoken. And after the call, I was like, that was interesting. I was feeling this kind of phase by this, and by then I was recognising there was this discomfort, and I said to Spirit, on a need to know basis, Spirit, show me what this is about. And I didn't get anything at that point, so I just carried on with the rest of my day and evening. And I went through the whole of that evening into the sleep time and the next morning with this discomfort. And then I asked Spirit on Sunday morning, show me what to do. So the immediate sense for me was that knowing it's a forgiveness letter. And I had no idea what I needed to write about. But what I also was getting the sense of, that it was linked to some thoughts that had been coming up for me in the past sort of week or so. There'd be, every now and again, these thoughts were coming in, and I'd be handing them to Spirit. And there were things like, no one wants to listen to you share. You're not interesting to share. Nobody wants to listen to you. Nothing you've got to say is of interest. So it was pretty fascinating that for quite some time I'd been handing these thoughts over. And so when I wrote this forgiveness letter, it was absolutely clear to me they were beliefs that were running. And I remember as a child in my family dynamics and in social settings feeling exactly like that I didn't have anything worthy of saying, didn't feel, and it was all this kind of thing. So at some point, whenever it's happened, and it doesn't matter, I have made meaning of whatever it's been, and those have become the beliefs. And I mean, I've written many, many forgiveness letters, and I love the ease and grace at which these insights come into my awareness. And it was just total ease and grace. There was no upset. There was just, oh, wow, these beliefs are actually running. This is what I'm believing. And so, yeah, throughout that call on Saturday, I was sat there like uncomfortable and almost frozen in a sense, knowing that there was something going on, but I was able to sit through it without any upset, and even till the next day, and address it. And actually, yeah, those beliefs were running. That's what was actually, so yeah, it was pretty amazing. And so I don't know if it's helpful, Mitzi, that sometimes what I do is, I mean, there's a couple of things I could say is, if I do things that are going against completely what I feel is what I would like to do or not like to do, it creates total chaos for me. And I've done it on many things. And if I do it, it creates this whole other scenario of chaos, which then assists me then to not then see what is underneath that. So in your situation, to not really have any sense of why you're not wanting to do something. And it's not necessary, I'm totally aware of it, it's not necessary to even understand why. But sometimes if I was to hand something like that to Spirit, I will get that awareness, because on a need to know basis, it may be something that is of assistance to us to understand. So I use the wording, Spirit, show me on a need to know basis, because I just absolutely know that if I do something that I really in my heart do not want to do, I just know the chaos I can create. And the chaos I'm talking about is in my mind. It creates a total confusion, like it's talking about in this chapter, utter confusion in my mind, because I'm just loading more of the ego distractions and hallucinations into my mind. And it just isn't helpful. So I don't know if those couple of things, and yeah, the forgiveness letters are just a wonder for me. So thank you, everyone.
Thank you so much, Penelope. Bye, Leslie. Wow. I had no idea that was going on. Like, I was staring right at you during that call. Of course, I was distracted towards the end, but yeah, I had no idea. Minding the gap is what we're doing, right? The thought comes into our mind, and there's a gap between that thought and the opportunity to believe it or act on it. We're getting this. Diane.
I'll just share quickly because I know we're going over time, but Penelope, thank you so much for your share. I really, really appreciate it, and your authenticity and your courage to be so open, because I was also on the same call. And so I really love how we can learn with ease and grace and then come and share it again. And I just really see your courage. And the other thing, I love your share about the forgiveness letter, and that's why I wanted to just jump on before we left. Was it is such an empowering tool, and you've really demonstrated that to us all. Just how you were able to use it to really ask the Holy Spirit to help you into that kind of feeling tone of what was going on for you. And I also am finding a lot of power in writing the forgiveness letters right now in a way that I haven't in the past. So for some reason, I feel like that tool is becoming more and more powerful as we all, or some of us are choosing to use it and getting such benefit from it. So thank you, Penelope. I really appreciate you bringing that up.
Yeah, thank you, Diane. Phil. Oh, we lost her. Oh, man. All right. Well, I'm going to close this out unless anybody has any last thing that they would like to share, because we are already 3 minutes over time. All right. So next week, just continuing with section 3, the Holy Encounter, in chapter 8 is what I would like to do. And then the following week, we might jump around a little bit because it looks like we did a couple of these so already. Unless somebody would really like to redo. I'm always up for that too, because I've done it before. All right, so my reading from Pathways of Light Insights is from lesson 309, which is I will not fear to look within today. The burden of guilt that everyone in this world carries is far greater than we recognize. The guilt we are aware of is like the tip of an iceberg. Beneath the surface, hidden in our unconscious mind, is intolerable guilt that seems to lurk, waiting to be discovered. Yet it is feared, for if it were recognized, it would be so dark and horrible that we would no longer want to live. To protect ourselves from what we believe is there, we push it into unconsciousness and project it onto a world we believe is guilty. We do not see that the guilt we perceive in the world is the guilt we perceive in ourselves, reflected back to us. This is the ego's belief system. It is founded on the belief that we actually separated from our source and have made a will different from his. Today's lesson brings us freedom from this insane story. It tells us that contrary to what we believe, within us is eternal innocence. It tells us that what we have not succeeded in making a will in opposition to God's. The perception of an opposing will is an illusion that could never be real. This is our release from guilt. The section on the second coming that goes with this lesson tells us that the second coming is the return of sanity. It is the moment in time when forgiveness rests equally on all things. Forgiveness opens our mind to the recognition that the rift we thought occurred between us and God never happened. We remain united with God. We share his will, and his will for us is perfect happiness. The way we reach full recognition of the eternal innocence within is to step by step bring every thought of guilt and fear to the Holy Spirit. As we give them to him with an open mind and heart, we receive his gift of recognition that nothing has ever occurred to alter the Holy Son of God in any way. The Son of ourself, our identity, forever pure, forever innocent, and forever love. Today I would accept the Holy Spirit's gift of innocence and share it with the world, for I would not fear to look within today. This is not an easy concept to grasp. When I first started reading the course, it discussed this guilt thing immediately. Well, I thought, this does not apply to me. My reasoning was I rarely ever do anything to my fellow travelers that would warrant guilt. Besides, if I accidentally offended someone, I would go and clean that up and take care of it. This works well for me. However, the course discusses guilt at a deeper level. Just like the 10 Commandments have a deeper meaning to them, I admit that I probably still don't have the guilt concept down 100%, but at least now it makes sense to me. I now stay vigilant to where I may be projecting guilt onto others. However, I don't find this to be easy to fulfill. But we're willing to make it easy. I am willing to say that it's going to be easy. Thank you, everybody. Thank you for being my answered prayer. See y'all next week. Bye for now.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Thanks, everybody. Bye. Have a great week.
Can I talk to you for a second, Linda?
Thanks, Linda. Bye, everyone.
Bye.
Just checking my calendar. Yep. Okay. What can I do for you?
Well, I'm still having that problem. He's deducted 2/2 of the payment in 1 month plus three of the $22 payments. So what he's done is, when we were talking, he deducted the one payment at the time we said, and then when he went past the 23rd, he did another. So that's still $127 out of the same month, no matter how you cut it.
Right.
And I don't know what to do. Should I just call him? I mean, should I make that, see if we can connect on that?
Yeah.
I mean, your agreement with him was to take $67 out of my account once in a month.
Yes.
Okay.
Let me see if I can find that.
Because it just, that when you total all that up, that's almost, it's almost $200.
Right.
What he's doing or she's doing. Is that a she again?
It's GJ. It's a he.
Oh, because I had Paisley on there. Okay.
Oh, Glazy?
Yeah.
Yeah, Glazy is a girl.
Okay. Well, that's what was on the
okay.
Invoice.
All right, let me take a look here.
Because it's not good to just have you in the middle of all this. I just thought you'd talk to him nicer than I. No, I'm not going to.
Necessarily. Not necessarily. Nope, this is the initial one. Oh, wait a minute.
I mean, right now he's taken, there's an extra, probably I don't know, 200, 200 or something, but that would get me through to my next payment,
Right.
my next money, I'm not gonna have it.
Nope, that's 2018. I don't know why it keeps telling me 2019, and then I click on it, it's 2018.
So is there two sets of books or something going on where they could have this invoice in one place and then in another and then in another? Because now, I'm just wondering.
Yeah, no, it should all be taken care of in one place.
Okay.
Because the one that we use for payments where people just sign up and don't have any special needs or special requests as far as their payment amount or their payment dates or anything like that, that's a completely separate thing. So all of this should be in one place. Yeah, I'm not seeing it, but I know that I talked to either GJ or Glazy about it, but I'm not seeing like the date or anything. Yeah, that's what I thought. I thought it was to GJ. Okay, so it looks like that was October 15th.
What, the talk, the last time?
Yes, when I asked him to set you up for, instead of 127 for the next 3 months, 6350 for the next 6 months.
Right. And he took, well, I don't know she, but there was payment then and then one on the 23rd. And so that's 2 in there, plus then there was 3 $22 payments in there.
Okay, the $22 one, I can't really deal with because they are not seeing it. That's why I said, if you can find a statement or something that you can send to them that shows the $22, it might have like a transaction code that they can look up, but
I
they're
have
not.
an invoice code. I have an invoice they send me, the invoice.
Yes.
Is that the invoice that he wants? That invoice number?
With the $22?
Yeah.
He's seeing one. Are you getting more than one
I'm
invoice?
getting one, like I just got one at the beginning of the month. Then I get one in the middle of the month, and then I get one at the end of the month.
And they have different invoice numbers?
Some do have a different invoice number.
Yes, if you can send him the invoice numbers,
Okay.
like with copies of those invoices, then he can take care of that. Yeah, as far as the 6350, that I don't understand why it wouldn't. It says your payment was going to begin on October 16th.
Mm-hmm.
So
Came out again on the 23rd or the 24th, right in there somewhere. So
yeah,
that's the way it was. Yeah, that's the way it was set up before, was to come out like in one payment and then in the next payment. But now he's got them, you know, it doesn't matter. I can't keep paying
right,
this money out each month.
right.
I'll be past the end of the year.
Yeah. Yeah, if you can send them all of those invoices, both with the $22 and with the 6350, and I will let them know that they charged you twice in October for your MLC 3 class,
Okay.
and let them know to expect the invoices for the $22 as well.
Okay.
Okay?
It's gonna take me I won't be able to get it till I get the statement. I have the old ones, but it doesn't have the $67.
Right. That's
Twice. So it'll be on this statement, and then maybe I could fax it because it might be.
or if do you have a cell phone?
Cell phone?
Yes.
Yeah.
If you could take a picture of it.
Yeah, I can't do all that stuff on my phone. It just doesn't do it.
Yeah, I don't know if there's a fax number.
Okay.
They're in the Philippines.
Oh.
So I'm not sure if they have a fax number. I can ask them.
Okay.
I know that there are some places that you can fax to a number that just, it goes into like an email as a document. I'll ask them about that. But yeah, if you have the emails that they are sending you with the invoice numbers, you can just forward the emails to admin@jenniferhadley.com and say, these are the emails that are showing that I'm being charged the $22 more than one time a month, and the $63.50 more than one time a month. But I will let them know that to expect all that.
Okay. Yeah, that I can do then. I can send on to them in an email.
Okay. And then once you do get your statement that shows the $22 taken out more than once, absolutely.
I could show it on last month, but
yeah.
I don't have a. What did we do last month that we were saying that he took it again? He did. Was it an extra payment? I don't know. Couldn't have been, I don't think.
Yeah, no, I just, as far as I know, with the $22, the only thing that I can remember is them saying that they looked it up, and from their end, it doesn't look like there's more than one coming out. But like you were talking about, maybe it's going into somebody else's account.
Right.
And that's why. So if you can, like I said, if you can send them somehow a copy of your statement that would have a transaction number, along with those emails that you're getting that have the different invoice numbers, then we can figure it out.
Right. Okay. Because who would I send it to if I didn't do it this way? Who would I mail it to? Do I send it to you? What do I do?
Like mail, like snail mail through the post?
Yeah, snail mail.
Yeah, I suppose you could send it to me because I can take a picture of it and then send it to them. But if you're going to do that, you probably could go to, like the UPS store probably could do it for you. Like digitize it and then send it in an email to admin@jenniferhadley.com.
Okay. Okay.
But you could send it, you could email, or you could snail mail it to me.
Okay. Well, I'll see what I can do.
All
I
right.
had my friend here. She would do it in a minute, but she's not here.
Yep,
She
no
moved
worries.
away. Okay, so I'll talk. Thanks so much.
You're welcome, honey. We'll get this taken care of eventually, right?
Yeah, I hope it's before I go bankrupt.
I know. Holy cow. All
Okay.
right. Talk to you soon.
Okay, talk to you later. Bye-bye.